Tips and drills out on the range, brought to you by Cap Off Training.
Welcome back to Tips and Drills on the Range. I'm Mike, and with my partner Jeff, as always, we're going to go through mag changes and a workstation. Now, throughout all of this, you've seen us using our plastic pistols for safety. This is going to be one of those instances where we're actually going to have to demonstrate with a real firearm. So before we actually do this, Jeff, let's clear this firearm and make sure that it's clear. So I'm going to visually inspect the chamber. I'm going to stick my finger in there and make sure there's nothing in there. And I'm also going to check this mag well. There was a magazine in it. I'm going to clear that mag well, so I have nothing in the mag well. I have nothing in the chamber. Now I know I have a clear firearm. And everybody here knows we have a clear firearm. I'm going to hand this back to Jeff. And as I do, Jeff's going to do the exact same thing that I just did. He's going to inspect it. And now we know that we have an empty firearm. Let's go ahead and turn around. So Jeff, go ahead and draw your pistol. And Jeff's pistol just ran dry. We never want a dry gun in a gunfight, but for this purpose, the gun went dry. Jeff's going to bring this pistol into what we call our workstation. So Jeff's going to bring it back, and as we put it here, this is what we call our workstation. The muzzle is directly in line with Jeff's eyesight. He's still looking at the threat or potential threat downrange. He's not taking his eyes off of where the potential threat would be coming from. But he can still clearly see what's going on with his pistol. This is what we call our workstation. He's going to go ahead and drop that magazine. And as he drops that magazine, he's going to draw a new magazine. Now, before he draws that new magazine, his index finger is going to go right where the bullet tip is going to be. There is a specific reason for this. It doesn't matter if it's pitch black. It doesn't matter if it's broad daylight. If your finger is always touching the tip of that bullet, you are always going to insert that magazine the correct way. There is the possibility, if you don't do that, of being able to insert the magazine. Go ahead and insert that the wrong way, Jeff.
You can't go any further now on the Glock.
On some different pistols, you can put a magazine in backwards. So, back in the law enforcement days, we used to carry on our bat belts our magazine holders. We were taught to keep those magazines in the magazine holder with the bullet facing in towards our center line, so that when we reached into that magazine holder and pulled that magazine out, our index finger automatically went directly onto that bullet tip, which allowed to ensure that we are having a proper insert of that magazine. Some of the law enforcement today, they're carrying a lot more magazines than we used to, and they'll have 3 or 4 seated this way with the bullets facing out from their bodies. That's so that when they grab a hold of that magazine, they're automatically indexing that finger onto the bullet itself, thus ensuring that it's always going into that mag well the correct way. From that, Jeff can now re-engage, reaching over the top and
close with
letting it go forward and being able to get back into the fight.
You notice it didn't close by pulling it back on it because there's no bullets in the mag. I had to use the slide release to do that.
So we're going to talk about something right now called a tactical reload. A tactical reload is when there is a lull in the action. We talked at the beginning of how we don't want that gun running dry in a gunfight. So if there is a lull in the action, which means you're behind cover, the bad guy's behind cover, the bullets have stopped flying for a brief moment. That brief moment is the perfect opportunity to do what we call a tactical reload. So Jeff, in our scenario, has just fired 6 out of 10 rounds, because in California, we can only have our 10-round magazines, unless you have a law enforcement exemption. But you fired 6 out of those 10. That means you've only got 1 round in the chamber and 4 rounds left in the magazine. When you have that brief lull in the action, why not take that opportunity to take that short stacked magazine, put it into your pocket, take a full magazine, and insert that full magazine. So Jeff's going to demonstrate bringing it back into his workstation, drop it before he reaches for this new magazine, or there's a couple of different ways that you can handle it. You can grab a hold of this new magazine and you can position this new magazine like this. You can now take the old magazine out, insert the new magazine, take that other magazine that still has 4 rounds in it, and put it into your pocket. You don't want to lose the extra rounds if you need them. And back into the fight. So that's what we call a tactical reload, when there is a pause or a lull in the action to take a fresh magazine and reinsert a fresh magazine, and keeping a hold of the partial magazine and putting that into your pocket should you need it. So that's going to be, go ahead and holster your weapon there, Jeff. We'll turn back around and look at the folks at home. That's going to be our workstation. That's going to cover doing a magazine change while you're in your workstation. And it's also going to cover what we call a tactical reload, keeping it a hold of you and keeping those extra rounds on a partial magazine back in your pocket should you need it. Next, we're going to demonstrate the revolver. So now we're going to go over the revolver. Jeff, let me see your speed loader there for a second. Now here's what I want the folks at home to understand and know. We are still using a real firearm. However, the rounds that we are using do not contain a primer. These are dummy rounds. These look like a live round, but they are missing the primer in it. So we are not using live ammo as we do this demonstration. This is just to be able to demonstrate how to load on a revolver using inert dummy rounds. So, Jeff, go ahead and turn around. Now Jeff's going to draw his weapon. And Jeff went through his 6 rounds in his revolver. Now Jeff's got to do what we call a reload. It's hard to do a tactical reload with a revolver. You're just doing a reload with a revolver, period. So as he does this reload, he's going to step back.
I'm actually going to do this slow, but
now I'm going to have the camera come in and look. Close that. He's going to step back. And as he steps back, his thumb is going to go right to the cylinder release. That's going to pop the cylinder open. And then you'll see these 2 fingers come directly over the cylinder itself, which holds that cylinder and keeps it from trying to move around while he's holding on to it. you have the ejector rod right here, and he will go ahead and eject those rounds, the spent rounds. He's going to grab his speed loader, insert 6 new live rounds, dropping his speed loader down to the ground because he doesn't need that anymore. Closes that cylinder, and now he's done the reload. Great job, Jeff. Go ahead and holster. Now, what you did notice is that the workstation has changed. The workstation for the revolver is not going to be straight up here like we were showing you with the semi-auto. That workstation has now come to a step back, sliding from here, because we had to allow gravity to work for us in order to be able to get those spent cartridges out of that cylinder, and then be able to rotate that pistol over to accept the new cartridges that we're putting in. It's a completely different workstation than when we were with our semi-auto right up here. So that's basically the differences in your workstation and loading your magazine versus loading your cylinder.
The last thing you want to do is point your muzzle at somebody to the left of you or to the right of you. Also, with the revolver, you notice my speed loaders are on my strong side, where my semi was always on my weak side, and because you're using a different hand to reload.
Great advice, Jeff. Well, that's going to do it for tips and drills on the range today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you again.
And that was Tips and Drills with Cap Off. Proceed to the next module to continue the course.